Ernährungstherapeutin. Ich freue mich sehr, Sie hier begrüßen zu dürfen. Der Anlass besteht aus 3 Teilen. Zuerst, ich spreche über mich und meine Geschäft. Und dann zweiter Teil, es geht um das Mischen und dann ihre Lebenslauf und ihre Karriere und noch ihr Ernährungstipp für Ballerina. Zum dritten Teil kommt noch wunderschönes Konzert von Stradivari Quartett. Und zum Schluss, ich möchte sehr gerne mit Ihnen zusammen ein kleines Apero haben und zusammen noch Besseres kennenlernen und noch weiter austauschen. Nach dem zweiten Teil gibt es eine kleine Pause, das so Biopause nennt man. Also immer bei meinen Seminaren oder Kochkursen mache ich immer ganz kleine Pause. Dann Sie können runtergehende trinken und noch schnell draußen frische Luft holen und so weiter. So, ich bin in Tokio geboren und in der Schweiz absolvierte ich eine Ausbildung zur Medizinsekretärin und zur Ernährungstherapeutin. Mit dem eidgenössischen Fachausweis auch noch das bei EME registriert. Ich bin die einzige Japanerin in der Schweiz als eidgenössische diplomierte Ernährungstherapeutin. Ich beschäftige mich das Hauptsächliche mit der Prävention. Mit meinem Erstabschluss als Sekretärin habe ich rund 8 Jahre lang in Klinik und noch Spitäler gearbeitet. Das medizinische Wissen kann ich mit der Qualifikation als Ernährungstherapeutin gerade 2020 gegründet habe. Sinneorgane. Zum Beispiel eine Haut, andere. Genau, Nase. Zunge, jawohl. Noch? Genau, Auge. Genau. Okay, jetzt wir haben 4. Noch eine. Wir gehen jetzt sehen, schmecken. Genau, Ohren, genau, hören. Genau, wir haben das 5 Sinneorgane. Das nennt man Umami. Aber und dann wir, also alle Japaner, also ich sollte vielleicht auch noch eine Balance machen, nicht einfach nur immer japanische Küche, so Komplimente. Ich mache auch noch so Raclette oder Cordon Bleu habe ich auch noch sehr gerne. Besonders Sorge Übergewichtskinder und umgekehrt auch noch dünne, so Jugendliche gemacht. Ich bin ständig mit dem Fahrrad in Zürich unterwegs und es ist nicht mehr so gewöhnlich, dass ich die Jugendliche mit einer Red Bull in der Hand oder Kinder also mit der großen Tüte Pumpchips sehe. Das macht mich irgendwie sehr traurig. Und noch was tun Schule und Eltern dagegen. In Japan gibt es ein Gesetz zur Lebensmittelerziehung. Und in Japan planen Ernährungswissenschaftler Speisepläne und bieten Mahlzeiten für Schüler oder Schüler. Eine Generation, dass alleine Ernährung schauen oder lernen und vorbereiten, jeden Tag, dass so sich ihre Körper das kümmern. Dann wir müssen zusammenarbeiten. Dann ich bin hier, also Ihre Gesundheit unterstütze mit meinen Fachkenntnissen und mit meiner Küche, also gesunde Küche. Und jetzt kommt der zweite Teil. Dafür brauche ich die beliebte schöne Ballerina als meine Partnerin. Bitte schön.
name is Michelle Willems. I am a dancer currently with Ballett Zurich, a soloist with Ballett Zurich. I've been working here for 8 years and I just started my 9th season. I am French, but I never lived in France, so it's a bit a long story. I was born in Belgium, and then with my family I traveled a lot at first. We lived in Kazakhstan for a little bit, where my parents worked. Then we moved to Moscow, to Bangkok in Thailand, and then back to Moscow, and then I arrived to Switzerland. My love for dance started in Kazakhstan, when my mom brought me to see some ballets that were performing there. And I told her back then, I was around 5 years old, and I told her I want to be a ballerina. And my mom told me, that's great. But inside she thought, every little girl wants to be a ballerina. How secure is that? How sure it will happen? And then when we moved to Moscow, she said, you could have the opportunity to start some ballet lessons. Would you like that? I was super excited, so I started my first ballet lesson when I was 6, and I never stopped since then. So somehow...
6 years old.
Yes, 6 years old.
Who took that now in this ballet lesson? Who is ballerina? How old did you start?
At 4 years old.
4 years old.
Even younger, yeah.
And you?
5 years old.
Okay, awesome. And then? And you?
8 years.
8 years. And maybe you too? You was also ballerina. When did you start?
5.
5. And then to become professional or who is
It is not impossible, but the younger you start, the easier it is to change your body in a dance way. Because of course we have positions that are usually not natural for the body. So of course, like, we have to constantly build it in a way for it to become a ballet body. And the older you start, the harder it is to develop these qualities, because the bones are harder, the muscles are stiffer, etc., etc. So yeah.
was very young, yes. And dear my son, and you are also junior cadre tennis player. When did you start?
At 3, 4.
Maestro, when did you start to play the violin?
I started with 4.
Also for
Maya, and you? Both the same. It's really so young.
So yes, and I started at 6 years old. Then there I met also a very good teacher that made me really love ballet and love dancing. And I'm still very close to her, and she still comes to watch me at least once a year here in Zurich, which is very nice. So I know her for already 22 years now, which is, she's been following me and my career, and she's been also a great support. When we moved to Bangkok, I continued taking lessons, and there I was taking them more regularly. I was going to a school where the teachers were around 11 years old. My teacher said, I can organize an audition for you in the Bolshoi school in Moscow. So, okay.
Great.
Yeah, great. To be honest, at this age, when I was 11 years old, I loved dancing, but I didn't know names, I didn't know schools, I didn't know great ballerinas. I just loved to dance, and I had good teachers. So for me, Bolshoi didn't really ring a bell back then. So we went for the audition. I was very nervous. I arrived, all the girls looked the same. Super skinny, same leotard, So I did the audition, and this was in April. So I did the audition, and afterwards I had the talk with the director of the school. And she says, okay, so we see you in September? And my mom and I, we were a bit like, it's April, we live in Bangkok, and we have to come and move to Moscow in September. But I am very lucky that my mom was also one of my biggest supporters throughout all these years. And she decided that we will all move back to Moscow, because she didn't want to leave me alone in Moscow when I was 12 years old.
Yes, of course. I understand her well.
Yes,
Yes.
as a mom you can imagine it's
Yes,
not
yes.
easy. So, but I had my doubts, to be honest, because I felt, it was the first time I felt very insecure, because until then I was dancing for my pleasure. I was dancing after school with some friends. Of course, there was like levels, and I still had some exams and everything, but it never felt like I was in any kind of pressure. And when I went to audition there, I did feel like, I'm just one of others. I don't, it doesn't feel like I cannot just enjoy and be special in my little school. It more felt like, okay, so we all want the same dream here.
Before you are always best, right?
Yes, I mean, not the best, but I was one of the good ones, and the teachers always put attention on me. And of course, so when I came to a school where everyone was determined, and you can imagine that in the Bolshoi they handpick really, like, so they all look the same, they all look they're all flexible or talented or all body very skinny shaped and everything. So I was a bit insecure, and I even thought, I told my mom maybe I shouldn't go. And my mom said, look, I know you don't realize right now, but this is one of a lifetime opportunity and you have to try, she said. And she said, look, we go, you try 1 month, and if after 1 month you don't like it, I take you out and you find something else. I don't want to pressure you. All this knowing that the whole family is moving back for 1 month. Like, it was very insecure. But then I stayed 7 years, so.
Yeah, at first you planned 1 month and then finally it's just 7 years.
Yes, and still now we have this rule with my mom. Whenever I'm a bit down or not feeling secure or doubting a choice, she always says, remember the rule, 1 month. Try 1 month and then you can decide yes or no.
Very great, very nice.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it's nice that we still have this rule.
But you didn't speak only French in the...
With my mom, with my mom I speak always French. At home we spoke French. But when I was in Kazakhstan, already there, I was in a kindergarten where everyone was speaking Russian because it was the ex-Soviet Union. So I already spoke a little bit of Russian, which helped a lot because most of the people there just speak Russian. So of course I was not fluent, but I had a good base. And then when I was there, I straight away went to all the academics in Russian as well. So it took a bit of time to adapt because until then I had all my classes in French. And but the only thing is when all my classmates, they had Russian language or Russian literature, then I had separate Russian to catch up a little bit the level and to learn how to properly write, properly read and everything.
Additionally, you had some support.
Separate and support. Okay. They had like a foreigner section that they were trying to help the few foreigners that were in the academy back then.
Vielleicht wie das, oder? Vielleicht in der Schweiz. Oder nicht? Vielleicht das. Zusätzlich, dass er vielleicht den Deutschkurs sehen soll. Good.
So when I arrived to the school, after 3 years being there, that's when I thought, okay, it's really starting to be professional. And of course, I already a while had classes every day, but that's when it clicked and it was like, okay, if I want to do this, I have to work and I have to push and I have to believe. That's when it felt very, I think when I was 15, 16, then I thought, okay, this is, I can make it.
You had 6 days in a week.
Yes.
So training the lesson.
Since I'm 12, actually, I work on Saturdays.
How many days do you have lesson? Also 6 times? And
it's
you?
quite often.
Only Sundays is free. And you?
And 6 or 7.
7 even.
7? Wow. There's no free time at the moment. But do you enjoy the dancing, Marit? Really? That's nice.
Yes.
Yes,
Of course, and it's important to keep liking to dance you have to really love it because it's hard, but you have to not forget that you love it because you love dancing and not, because sometimes it can be difficult, but you have to remember the good sides as well, of course, always. Yes, and then I graduated from the Ballett when I was almost 19, and
how skinny you are when you are 19 years
So,
old?
I've been always told that I was not skinny enough. Yes, it was always a topic. It's in the school. And especially in Russia, it's on the extreme side, I find, and